Without intentions, you have no goals. Without intentions, you will get stuck in your life. Without intentions, you are going to stay on that rat race of constantly chasing the next thing and not staying present. Let's chat about it right now. Check it out. Hey, everybody, and welcome back to the Positivity Experience. It's your girl, Lori, and woo, am I excited that we are here, baby. All of my presents are wrapped. I have had them wrapped for a little bit of time. My intentions were to get that done, and I will tell you how I got there because I've not always been there, and I knew that my intentions had to be different. And I'm going to really go a little bit deeper into the intentions because that's really life-changing for me. It was very transformational for me, and I still have to constantly refine them because it's really easy to spiral out. You know, you could have every tool in the world. You could be an expert at anything. That doesn't mean that you're never going to fall back, and that's a beautiful thing for you guys to remember. You're never looking for perfection. Perfectionism is fake, and it will hold you back. So it's understanding that it's progress. Over on the Patreon, I have a really good worksheet for you to fill out, right? There's going to be some blanks in there for you to fill out, for you to really think about, to establish these intentions or your own intentions. So if that's something that you're interested in, jump on over to Patreon at patreon.com/the positivity experience, or you can find that link anywhere that you're listening to this podcast right now. Before I get into it, I want to say a big hello and I love you to my listeners in Australia. Yes, I seem to have a lot of listeners in Australia now, and I love you guys so much, you know, especially Mayan and Katie. They have really pumped me out to everybody, and I really greatly appreciate it. I appreciate everybody. I love Australia. I would like to go visit there. So if you guys want me there, bring me on. I'll be happy to come. Hey, that's my intention. My intention is to get out there. I love this. So I'm really excited to talk to you about this. It's a big piece of my alternative practices for myself. I'm very connected. I'm very universally charged. I'm grounded, and intentions is something that is transformational. For me, it was because it's so easy to go down this rabbit hole of what you don't have. And oh my God, I have to achieve this. And now you put yourself in a position where everything is so broad. If you have a broad goal, like I'm going to lose 10 pounds by January. Well, let's pretend it's not already January, but almost January. So let's say I'm going to lose 10 pounds by March. Well, what the hell does that mean? That's not even a goal. Like that's some possible goal, but what? Like there's no intentions behind that. So you want to get really specific, and I'll give you examples here in a minute. But just remember, we're going to go through goals and intentions and letting go of the things that are holding you back. So the title of this, as you saw, is setting intentions that stick and letting go of what's holding you back. And those two things kind of have to go together in order for them to be effective. Also, something to remember, when you're listening to this or anything else by me or anybody else, you have to remember that it's going to become a habit. Before it can be implemented, you're going to implement it, but before it can be automatic, it has to be able to create a ritual and a routine. So we'll get to that in a minute. So let's talk about intentions versus goals, because there's this combination that comes into your brain that goes, well, my goals are my intentions. They are not, because they are too broad. So intentions focuses on today, right this second, in this moment. So your intentions are to be present in the moment and the process, and the journey, and then to reflect how you're living, thinking, and acting. Okay, so let's go to the goal, whatever the goal is. I'll lose 10 pounds by March because that came into my head. So in that, how are you living today? Are you living today according to what you want for March? Are you thinking in a directive way? Are you intentionally following a plan, an intentional plan? Are you doing that? Or are you just randomly saying, I want to lose 10 pounds by March? And there's a whole bunch of everything about that is incorrect. You're allowed to have a goal of weight loss. That should never be your driving force to go to the gym, to eat healthier. Never. Weight loss shouldn't be this big goal. Healthier is the goal. Weight loss is the byproduct. But that's a totally separate topic, right? Because sometimes we get these goals in our mind and we're still chasing something where healthier is great. Healthier is amazing. But when you are looking at a goal is I want to lose 10 pounds in 3 months and then that's it. Well, okay. But really think about something in your life right now. Anything. Okay. Here, as we're coming into the new year, again, we're not doing new year, new me thing. But as you're coming into the new year, what are some things that you want to implement? Just think of any one right now. So let me think of a personal one for me. Well, getting the damn book finished, right? Which I'm pretty good. I have a system for it. My goal here is to have my book done and edited and out by a certain date. I'm not telling you that date yet right now because you don't need to know. So how am I going to keep that goal but live intentionally today? Well, how that's going to look is I am intentionally going to schedule 20 to 30 minutes a day to either finish outlining it where the areas that I haven't outlined yet, or, right, because I have kind of two set intentions depending on which day it is, because I have them alternate depending on the day, right? So one is going to be more of an outline, two is going to be more or less writing it. So I will write 20 to 30 minutes. I will write on these days, right? I will write today. I know the end goal. The end goal does not matter, but I better have intentions today. What am I going to do today? Am I living that way? Am I thinking that way? Because if I say to myself, well, I want the book out by X amount of date, and shit's been pushed back forever, but if I want it out by a certain date, well, now I feel almost like pressure. I'm like, holy shit, okay, I got to get this done by X amount of date versus, you know what, that's this goal, but what can I focus on today and what can my intentions look and feel like? So you intend, so in the case with, let's say today, let's say you say, I'm going to have a good day today. Love that for you. Let's change that and go, I intend to approach today with kindness. Today, I intend to approach today with kindness. My mantra, you guys know this, has been my mantra for years. Feel free to use it and put it in your own words. My mantra in my intentions every day is, I am capable of handling anything that the day sends my way, and I only have today. So the first part of that is intention. I am capable of handling anything the day sends my way. And then a reminder for me is, and I only ever have today. And the reason I do that is, because if not, I'm going to squirrel out. I'm going to go out into something where I start worrying about tomorrow or yesterday or anything like that. So if I remind myself, listen, you are here. So that's a really good intention. So why do they matter? Why do intentions matter? And by the way, not only is there like, hey, energy around this, it's also scientifically proven. I told you they do electrodes in the brain. You can see if somebody's meditating. You can see the difference in the change in the neuroplasticity. Well, and it helps neuroplasticity, everything like this. So yes, you want to get there, but to just say I'm going to meditate, that ain't it. That is not it. So we're going to break it down. So an intention anchors you today. It anchors you today and it guides you daily. It guides your actions. It also this is big for me, big. It reduces overwhelm because it's not rooted in finishing. It's just living in alignment. So if you focus on finishing, and this is how I had to restructure this thought on this book, on this specific book, is if I'm focused on getting this book done by X amount of date, fine, that's a goal. But if this is all I'm living on, I better get it done. When you're in it, it feels overwhelming. It feels like you're drowning, or at least for me, it feels like you're drowning and you're like, holy shit. Okay. So then you're trying to figure it out. And then if you're not doing what you think you're supposed to be doing, and now you have all this pressure to finish it, that isn't it. Because you're chasing the goal, not the intention. So an intention keeps you rooted right here. It's just living in alignment. Am I aligned with this goal? So again, I'll go back to the weight thing. I want to lose 10 pounds in 3 months. Cool. Are you living in alignment with that? Don't focus on the 10 pounds. That's this arbitrative, a goal. Are you living in a directional path in which you're hoping to go in? That's what you ask yourself. Because you can't say, I want this, and then keep repeating the same habits. That's not going to happen. That's going to be overwhelming. You're not going to be able to sustain that. And here is something you got to remember. It is joy in the process. This is joy in the process. And I know it's cliche and I know you've heard it before and you're like, oh my God, I get it. Well, I mean, you're going to hear it a million times. If it's effective, you're going to hear it. Whether you like it, whether you don't like the package, it doesn't make it any less of a fact. The joy in the process will become better for you when you're living each day present, mindfully, and with intention. Because then you're not focused on all of this other stuff. Well, the joy is the process. So I've restructured multiple times with this book. I've used different apps for, not apps, for like writing stuff. It's not an app. It's Scrivener, which it only matters if you're an author. But it gives you a place to brainstorm. It has all of these little folders that you can put like your manuscript in and different things. So it's got one stop that you can go and continue to write in. I'm now using that, but I've changed it multiple times because I was really like, oh my God, I got to get this out. Oh my God, I got to get this out. No, I'm not enjoying that process. Now it's stressful. I'm going to declutter the whole house by New Year's. Oh my God, no, you're not. You're not. Why? What? You are creating the highest level of overwhelm because you are not intentional with anything. So just because you say it doesn't mean you're living it. So you say, am I living, acting, and thinking in the directional path that I want to go in? And that's where it's going to help you. So you set things way too broad or disconnected. I'll be more mindful every day. What the hell is that? That's great. I love that you're going to be more mindful every day, but there's no specifics. There's no specifics with that. It's being mindful every day. What the hell is that? Just a goal. Something like, I will dedicate 5 minutes this morning to my gratitude practice. That's intentions. Those are intentions. Well, no, that's intention. Not I will be mindful today or every day. No, because you don't have a directional path. Make it to where you don't have to think about it. You have it written down. You got those 5 journals I told you about, but create little stickies if you need to. Put them on your mirror. I don't care what it is that you do, but make it to where it's actionable in that moment so you can live mindfully every day. But today, you're just going to focus on 5 minutes to journal. That's a lot more doable and a lot more settling for your nervous system. Because to go, I'm going to be mindful every day. Well, this puts this weird, like, how can you enjoy that process, right? Because it puts this weird thing like, all right, I better get it done. Oh, crap, I missed Tuesday. So, okay, you missed Tuesday. But if you have the intentions, it's going to be, you can still miss it, by the way. It's not a perfection thing. But let's say you have set the intention, you're going to be a hell of a lot more likely to carve out 5 minutes in your day. Now you got to make that happen. Carve 5 minutes out in your day to do this gratitude practice, to stay mindful versus the other thing. So it's all about how you see things. I'm going to give you an example. This has nothing to do so much with intentions, but more of a reframe. Oh my God. Okay. This would be somebody. Oh my God, this sucks. This is so hard. This is hard. And I just can't do this. When my clients come to me, they start that way. They do not, like 5-6 months into it, they're not saying those things any longer. What you say is, oh, I am facing challenges. I am capable of facing this challenge, right? You can change it, say it either way. I am capable of facing this roadblock and I'm learning every day. Same thing, different verbiage, different feeling in your body, right? So if you can't give yourself this grace and you can't allow yourself to challenge this, I suck, I'm terrible, I need to be perfect, I'm not perfect. If you're not going to challenge that, you will stay in the same loop. You are new to much of this game of self-help, self-healing, growth journey. And big thing here that you need to know, you're never going to be done. You're never going to be done. You should always be in a space, and I don't like that, but anyway, you will always be in a space to where you are constantly learning and growing. When you think that you have achieved it, that's how you know that you're definitely nowhere near getting to that place. Nowhere near. And so when you're in that space, you have to remember 100% of the time, you are creating this narrative in your brain that is problematic to you, problematic to your expectations, and definitely problematic to your goals. Because you're living in a space of constant and chronic, I'm not enough, I can't achieve this, I can't achieve that. Every time I try, I fall off. Every time I'm doing this, you have no intention. You're not living with intentions. And you're just telling yourself this horrible narrative because you're not falling in love with the joy of the journey and the process. Why do these fail? Multiple reasons I just told you. Multiple reasons. So it's when you're setting these intentions too broad, it's going to be a problem. When you're lacking the emotional connection to it, it is going to be a problem because now you're just checking boxes. It's like doing the gratitude journal incorrectly. You'll still get something out of it. But when you do it as a task list, I am grateful for this. I am grateful for this. I am grateful for this. That is just a task list. That is not gratitude. That's just checking the boxes to say, I gratituded today. No, you didn't. I don't know what that was. I guess it was better than nothing. But that wasn't the gratitude journal. That was you creating a task list. Too broad. But it's, I want to eat healthier. What is that? That lacks depth. There's no depth to that. So if you tell yourself I want to eat healthier, that's not going to work. I want you to reframe it because I am the master reframer. Seriously, I am a really good reframer for myself and everybody else. And letting you see that there's a different viewpoint than what it is that you're seeing in general. So when you're changing in general, when you're changing something that you're reframing, I want you to remember that you're just looking at how you negatively see that and changing it from a perspective that is healthier for you. It's going to take a minute. Give yourself time. Like I said, this is new for you. Because if you push yourself and go, why can't I do this? Why can't I do this? Well, it's going to be a thing and you're never going to do it because it's always going to seem like you're looking for that end result. So I want to eat food that gives me energy. I want to eat food that is going to allow me to be more energetic. Either one of those. I want to eat healthier doesn't mean a damn thing. I will eat healthier, right? Is okay. But it doesn't do anything without the restructure in your brain of that reframing. I will eat foods, not I want to. I will eat foods that provide me energy. Now you're looking at eating healthier. Now you're looking, okay, so let's do another one. This is off the top of my head too. I've always been a binge eater all my life. Luckily, I kind of keep her at bay. I kind of work with her very nicely, but I've had it since I can remember, honestly. And it was as much as I could with the food that we had at the time. When I'm going to eat mindfully at night, because it is a real slippery slope. So if I say, okay, that's it. This is good. I'm not going to snack tonight. I'm not going to snack tonight. That is not intentions. That is not an intention. That's some distant, weird, broad thing. So I'll say, when challenged with the need to snack, I can replace that with, I don't know, crochet, which is helpful, reading a book, or even making popcorn and just say, I am replacing any snacking tonight with a small helping of popcorn. You're making it specific, you're making it actionable. And side note with that, having something that you can say instead of this, like that's big with scrolling. A lot of you know this. I know it's shocking because I'm all over socials. I schedule my social media to go out, minus my Insta stories. I schedule it. I do not scroll social media. I might hop on and look up a recipe or a pattern. I don't have the bandwidth with it because it is going to be a distraction for me. It is a very easy time suck. I'll say I'll do it for 15 minutes and now it's 4.5 hours later. It's just, I go on there with intention. So what I would say, instead of like, well, I'm just going to scroll for 45 minutes, which I would not do. Instead of that, or saying, I will get off at 8:00. That's good. But I will say something like, oh, instead of scrolling social media, I will look up a new pattern tonight for crochet. So you're giving yourself something alternative because neurologically, you are getting something out of scrolling. It's a dopamine hit. That's why social media apps, they know that. So they're going to keep like, hey, you want more of this? Cool. You like that? Yeah, I'm going to give you that. They don't really care about your mental health. You're not important other than showing up and watching. And I don't mean the people that work there. I'm talking about the algorithm in general. So you need something that's going to be the alternative to looking at it because it's easy to scroll. I think the average person loses that concentration in about 2.6 seconds right now. So literally you can look at something and be like, no. Oh yeah, that's funny. 2.6 seconds. So think of all that dopamine. You're getting this dopamine hit on a regular basis. So now you're saying, I'm scrolling too much. My goal is not to scroll more than a half hour this next month. Okay. That doesn't do anything for you. You ain't going to accomplish that. So you want to give your brain something to see as a reward system. So again, instead of scrolling, you could say, I will get off of social media, or no, let me change that. I will pick up a book or crochet or play Switch or whatever it is that you're going to do when I feel the urge to go on socials. So you're giving yourself, and you see, I even had to reframe that in my own mind there in the beginning. You're giving yourself the reward system, and everything right now is automatic. You just grab your phone and you just start scrolling away because it's a natural habit. You're not thinking about it. That's why you start at like 20 minutes and 7.5 hours later. That's why. And you're just looking at it and going, well, what would I do at that time? Oh, I got a lot to do. God, everything looks terrible. Oh, I could do that, but I don't want to. Not only do you not really have a goal, you kind of do, but your intentions are all over the place. And you're looking at all of these challenges. So instead of going, I'm going to be decluttered by the end of January, you're not. You will not be decluttered by the end of January if that's all you're going to say. You're not going to do that. Today, I will focus on one corner of my room and I will set a timer for 30 minutes. Boom. Period. That's it. And then you follow through with that. You're a hell of a lot more influenced to go clean that in the corner for 25 minutes, even though you might not like it, than looking around the house and going, I'm going to declutter this. You will not. You will get paralyzed by all of this overwhelm. And now you've created this, I'm not finishing it in time. You don't have to don't have to finish everything that you're starting. So if you're saying, I'm going to declutter this whole room, calm down. You don't need to do it all at one time. That's why intentions are important. Then this way you set your timer for 25 minutes. You guys know I like the Pomodoro technique in general. I've used it for years. I use a couple of different things as well, but this is a big one that I've used forever since I've learned it. And do I use it every day? Nah, I don't use it every day. You try to use it more than you don't, right? But when you sit there and you say, I can do this for 25 minutes and it's going towards your goal, right? Your end goal. We like to have something that's like, oh, this is the mile marker. But none of that matters if you don't know the steps that you're going to take to get there. So you have to be intentional with that entire thing. So that's why you need the emotional connection. And that's why scrolling at night is not going to be healthy for you. In general, scrolling at night is not healthy for you at all. So instead of saying, I will meditate, no, I will create a routine tonight that will and you say 5 minutes to meditate, kind of like I said to you before. The external noise is definitely preventing you from taking the time to do intentions. Really think about the world that we live in. You're listening to this podcast. Some of you are listening in Australia and other countries. Some of you are down the street. You can turn on, you can go through the computer and you can say, I wonder what they're doing in Japan right now, right this second. And you can pull up a camera somewhere that's going to show you exactly what they're doing in Japan right now. You can see the weather. You can see people walking. You can see what they're eating. That's a lot of noise. That is a lot of noise. But, that's what we want. We need to know. We have everything at our fingertips, good and bad, right? There's always going to be a good. There's always going to be a not so good because we know that creates a problem. So you have to replace it. So with the external noise where you're bombarded by so many distractions, you have to focus on today, in general. Today, I will focus on solid silence. I like it called solid silence. Silence for 15 minutes. There's noise. There's going to be noise. Silence is loud. And you need to slow that or lower that silence down. But if you avoid silence, this is where the problem comes. A lot of socials or a lot of all of these things that you do are to distract yourself from the silence. That's why you need solid silence. That will help you have clarity. Listen, in the beginning, you're going to feel weird. You're going to be like, oh God, I feel like I'm going to come out of my skin. Why is it? You'll even start talking to yourself. Well, I do that anyway, but you'll start talking to yourself to be like, well, this should be over in a minute, right? Because you just need to do something. You're fidgety. You want your phone. In the beginning, you will. But you can't worry about having on the TV or the sounds and all that stuff. We love sounds, but not for this. Solid silence. It will provide you such clarity. Let yourself feel awkward. Do all of that. Journal on that later. But carve that out today, tomorrow, the next day, as long as you need to. And that silence is going to start to tone down and it's going to provide you clarity. I mean, these are like, you have free. That's free. Why? Why would you not do more of that? Because it doesn't seem like, oh, this isn't effective today. Stop with fast fixes. They don't exist, right? The medicine isn't going to fix it. The therapy isn't going to fix it. The mindfulness alone isn't going to fix it. Well, kind of, but mindfulness is probably more out of all of those. It's bringing everything together. Maybe it is the medicine because you need it. It is the therapy or the coaching because you need it. It is whatever it is, but it isn't a fast fix. Stop trying to feel better. That's the problem. I need to feel better. My goal is to feel better. Well, what the hell? That is never going to happen. Stop trying to negate the things in the process in which you're going to find. So when you look at it and it seems overwhelming, you take it, you know what your end goal is, and you make an intentional action right now. It's going to be very, very helpful for you, and it is going to be new. Because you have a neurological pattern, which we've talked about in great detail. People have a resistance to change. So you might be like, well, I don't mind change. If you're not changing your systems and your habits, you don't like change. And it's a neurological resistance to change. So example, back to the phone. If you scroll your phone at night, you are going to crave that habit. I need that. I don't know. Luckily, this is not me, but I know there are people who do this. You're driving. People do this. I'm not lying to you. I'm not making this up. People are driving. They're at a light. Okay. I'm assuming they're doing it while they're driving too, but whatever. They're at a light. They will grab their phone. I don't mean somebody text them. They will grab their phone and almost look at it, or even like say they're going to be at a light for a minute or traffic, not big traffic, but just like they're like, oh, Instagram. Oh, let me scroll. You're in the car. Stop it. Put on this podcast. Hello. Or do a book on tape. Do something. Book on tape. Hello. It made me sound old. Do an Audible. Do anything. Stop. Your phone is not that important. My God. So your brain says, I need this. I must have this. Because it's a habit. So until you are able to change that habit by filling it with something else, this is where it's going to become a problem. And that's what you want to focus your intentions on. And in order to focus your intentions, you better know what your core values are. Go back to that podcast. How can you make a goal if you don't know your core values? You don't. Then you're just making random goals for everybody else, or you're chasing this level of happy, or you're chasing the anxiety away. You're going to keep the cycle. You're going to keep the cycle. It's not going to stop. So you got to say to yourself, what are my core values? And again, go back to that. And if you're on the Patreon, just go back to your worksheet that you filled out and even redo it. You know, if you're over there and you've done it, redo it. But then when you have that, you're able to go, oh, okay, well, now that I know what it is that I want, I'm going to break that down into the intentions today. Because if not, you're going to try to work harder to meet somebody else's expectations. I better do this. I better do this. I got to do this. This is what makes me successful. Calm down with that, because success is defined very, very different ways at very, very different times of your life. Because intentions are rooted in what you want and not others' demands. That's right. Your intentions are rooted in what you want. Nobody cares about your goals except for you. I mean, people might go, oh, that's nice, but nobody cares if you meet them like you do. So are you living in a place that you're doing what you want, or are you living with the demands of others? And of course, I don't mean work, because you're going to have to do that. You're just going to have to. I'm talking about when it comes to personal life, when it comes to different goals that you think you're supposed to meet because the family wants you to do this. And now you're living that way. So now there's no intention there. That intention just went right out the door. It's like you're just a Roomba. You're just trucking around. You've been mapped out. And this is just what you do over and over again. So setting the intentions that stick, we're going to break those into actionable steps. And that's what you got to say. So here's what that would look like. Think about being productive and you're like, oh my God, it's overwhelming. I can't do this. I'll be more productive instead of that. I will prioritize 3 things or 3 tasks tomorrow. Let's say 3 tasks. I will prioritize 3 tasks tomorrow, and I will take breaks every hour and a half or every 2 hours. You just told yourself what you're going to do. Not, I'm going to do it all tomorrow. I will prioritize 3 tasks. It's always 3. It's this power of 3. It's a psychological thing. It's in psychology and everything else. But it's 3. 3 things. I will prioritize 3 tasks tomorrow. Okay, well, that might take a while. I will take breaks every hour and a half. And you can even go a step further and say, I'll take a 20-minute break. If you're using the Pomodoro technique, it's already built in to have a little downtime in between each one of those 25-minute cycles. You'll have to use it. I'm just kind of giving that down to you. This will be very helpful to you because, again, instead of saying, I need to go get everything done this week, you're saying, I will break things down with 3 tasks. And that also forces you to prioritize because you might be like, well, they are all important. Yeah, calm down. They are not all urgent. And even if they are all urgent, you can't do them all. You only got so much energy. So process of elimination, take those top 3, those are your tasks. And you can even break it down even further, not just, hey, these are the 3 tasks that I'm going to do. You could say something like, when I prioritize my tasks, I will focus on the first one of those tasks by 11 o'clock in the morning. So it's how it works. It's still going to be it's going to be what works for you. Sometimes people prefer to break it down task by task. So still the 3, but task by task, or they just know that they have 3 and it's not a specific timeline, but it's going to get done today. That's the intention. So think about reframing things instead of these global broad statements. I'm going to get off social media. You're not. No, you're not. You're not going to do it that way. I will get off my phone at 8 o'clock at night and I will put my phone into the kitchen. Okay, that's intentional. So just remember that in your head, okay? Tying emotions to the attention. You got to tie your feeling state. Feelings are not facts. They will never be facts, but they are real to you because they're in your system. They're in your system. So here's the thing. You've got to attach a tie. We're going to put those together. You got to attach this to the emotion. I feel a sense of peace. Remember, you got to describe it and tell yourself, I feel a sense of peace. That emotional pull will keep me focused. That will keep me focused. I feel emotional peace, and that will keep me focused. Those are things, because think about this. Okay, so let's do this in real time. And I'll use myself as an example because that's what I got. If I have a room, at which I have in many different ways, a room that says cluttered or anything like that. When I go in there, it literally makes me go, oh God, there's so much happening here. And I look at it and go, I would rather go to Target. That's where I'd like to go. So it's this avoidance. It is an avoidance. And a person like me will avoid things like the plague. So I better be intentional and say, am I living according to what it is that I'm trying to do? And sometimes I am, and sometimes I'm not. And I got to redirect it. Again, I will clean one drawer out of my desk. I will clean one drawer out of my desk and donate or throw away throw away or donate, assuming that it's like a drawer, not a desk drawer. So these are important things. Visualization. And people know this. If you've been with me for a while, you already know this because it's what I do this with all my clients. At any given time, I'm doing this with all my clients, and that's visualization. If you're not visualizing yourself living this life, if you're not visualizing yourself already having it, and this is, yes, it's manifestation, of course, but it's more or less, and I don't mean just like, here I am, I'm living this life and I'm retired and I don't have a job. No, that's not it. You see yourself doing the actions. You see yourself, you close your eyes, take a couple of deep cleansing breaths. Now you got to know what it is that your intentions are and see yourself sitting there with those intentions. What are you wearing? Are you wearing what you have on? Look at the room around you, but you're in it. You're in that moment and you see yourself doing it. See yourself accomplishing it. You see yourself writing it in a journal that says, hey, this is what I accomplished. Visualize the success, but don't attach like, ooh, I better do this. Don't do that. It's going to be really important. So you have to also anchor your intentions in routine building habits. Everything we do is a habit. And attaching this is going to be really helpful. So if you want to journal more, I'm always going to encourage you to do those 5 journals. I'm always going to encourage you to do it even when you don't feel like doing it because it's really good. But if you want to journal more, let's put that with something that you do automatically. So what you want to implement, you want to do with something you automatically do. Let's say it's drinking coffee in the morning. Because, your day is going to get busy. You're drinking coffee in the morning. Then you take your gratitude or your positivity journal downstairs or wherever your coffee is and set it right there. So wherever you drink your coffee, outside, on the couch, journal goes there. So you're more inclined to journal when it's right there. And then that's going to become a habit and you're not even going to think about it. Now you have got to track your stuff. So what I like for you to do is in the morning, you've created this intention, blah, 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 blah. Okay. So you're going to write this down, put it in your gratitude journal or usually your positivity journal. Okay. I am capable of handling the day and anything day sends my way, or today I will go for a 5-minute walk or 25-minute walk at lunchtime. But let's say things got away from you. So you did like a 8-minute walk. Well, it doesn't mean you failed at all. So you're going to go home and you're going to journal in the evening. I like for you journal in the morning and in the evening and even midday if you choose to. That's why you want to have a couple sets of journals rolling around the house. When you get home, you want to journal on what worked for you and what did not work for you. Do you need to adjust it somehow? So maybe you're not going to do a 25-minute walk tomorrow. You're going to say, I'm going to do a 12. It doesn't always have to be these 5-minute increments. I'm going to do an 11-minute walk tomorrow. That's right. See, when you make it an off-kilter number, that's why, think about this. If I say to you, this is on sale for $9.99. Mind you, everybody knows this, but we still fall into this. $9.99. Now, if I say this is $10, that $10 versus the 9 in front of it, even though it's a penny different, does create a difference. It really does. So if you're looking at it, maybe you don't do 25 minutes, maybe you say 12 minutes, and maybe you're going to be consistent with that for 2 weeks. And then you're going to take those 12 minutes, then you're going to get to 15 minutes, and then you're going to celebrate it each night in your journal. You're going to adjust it as needed. So you got to scale back. Let's talk about letting go of what no longer serves you. And while I'm doing that, I'm going to tell you right now, I'm creating this little small free program, really small. Like it's not a program. It's just like a worksheet that's going to help you with this whole letting go. Letting go. Oh my God, I love letting go. It's such a great thing. And it's of what's holding you back. It's going to be big. This is a big question. And it's going to be in that worksheet anyway. And I'll make sure that you have access to it if you want. It's going to be downloadable. You will have to put your email in. It'll give you options at the end if you want to continue anything else going forward. However, let's talk about this a little bit. What do you fear losing if you let go? By the way, whether you let go or not, things are the way they are. Like you holding on to it is not a power trip because everybody's life is still going forward. Everything is still moving. The past is not changing. So we have this illusion, this safety illusion, this illusion of control that says, if I don't let this go, then they're not getting over. Everybody's getting over because you're not letting it go. So you got to ask yourself, if there's a change, if this is a habit change, if this is something different, what are you afraid of losing if you start implementing all of this intention? Are you afraid of losing friends? Are you afraid of being alone? But you can say, this is a good reframe for yourself. And be honest with yourself. Say, I am resistant to implementing this in fear of losing said person, whoever, or someone. However, it's draining to my energy. What is more important to me? I mean, I just kind of came up with that off the top of my head. But you got to ask yourself that. Remind yourself that what you're fearing is not helping you. It's draining you. So you better say that and you better throw that out there. Are you staying in toxic friendships because you fear being alone? Is it draining your energy? Yes, it is. Why are you staying in these toxic friendships? Because you want to have a friend? That's not a friend. Or you're holding on to something that isn't going to benefit you because you're falling in love with some weird level of hope. That's not going to help you either. You got to reframe your limited beliefs. There's an entire podcast I did on limited beliefs. You're going to ask me what episode it is, and I'm going to tell you it was many episodes ago, but it's on limited beliefs. And we know why that is. It's almost like confirmation bias as well. And if you have this limited belief that says, I am not good enough, God, Lord knows I've seen that 1,000,001 times. I am not good enough. I am not good enough to achieve this. I am not capable of doing this. Well, then you're probably not going to do it because that's a limited belief. And actually, that limited belief in some ways you think is protecting you, because then if it doesn't work, you're like, told you I suck at this. Because heaven forbid you give yourself some kind of, directional guidance of support. See, I told you I sucked at it. So it's like you're afraid of doing this. So instead of saying I'm not good enough to do this or achieve this, I want you to have that mental reframe. Everyone starts at somewhere, but my effort makes me worthy or makes me enough or anything like that. That's what makes me. I have started here and everybody starts here. People start at zero. And that's how they get there. So you got to change that. And you have to remember, I keep saying I can't do things, not only for my low self-esteem, but because it gives me that out should it not work out. That's a big one. I can promise that happens. That's why most people do it. Acceptance. Go back to the Radical Acceptance podcast. I have one on just about everything. Acceptance. You cannot change the past, but you can accept it, accept what happened and move forward. I cannot change the past. I can accept what happened and I can move forward. That was a big one with my molestation. I mean, it happened. Why did it happen? Was it fair? No. Do I need to understand? No. There's nothing anybody could say to be like, well, this is the just cause. It happened. I have accepted that it happened. I'm not that person who's like holding on to it. I can talk about details of the molestation and order a pizza in the same breath and then go shopping. Like I'm not triggered by that because it happened. It absolutely happened. It is what it is. It is what it is. I can accept it and then I can move forward with my life. And that's where I've been. I know a lot of you say, I don't know how to accept it. That's why I have so much stuff on acceptance. So much stuff on it because there's not a secret. It's letting your ego down. It's letting your ego go. It's letting this need to be right, which is your ego. You're releasing through your actions. You're writing a letter. You do this, and I'm not the one that created this, but it's something I've implemented for years. I did it myself. I did it with my clients. Write a letter to someone that you feel harmed you. Get detailed with that letter. And then some people tear it up. I always say go burn it outside, burn it in the wherever. If you just don't have access to that, tear it up. Write it down. Release through action. There's a reason why psychiatrists and stuff have been talking about that since the 60s. Probably even before, if I'm being honest. But it wasn't that important for me to know those dates. There were some rituals with letting go. Like I said, you're going to write down a fear or belief on a piece of paper too. So not only are you going to do the note, you're going to write down this fear. This is what I fear. Why? What's the belief system? Well, then I can't control it. No, that's true. So holding on to that, how's that helping you? Well, I fear that if I do this, it's not going to work out. Okay, so now that's perfectionism. That's not real. And you're living with this idea that if you somehow or another fail, that there's something wrong, and that's not the case. So you're going to write down that fear. You're going to write down that ritual. You're going to tear it up. And when you tear it up or when you burn it, in the act of that, you say, this no longer serves me. So you write down this fear, you write this letter, and you do this. And as you're tearing it up or as you're setting this thing on fire, this no longer serves me. I think I need to get some merch. I think I really need to get some merch if I'm being honest, because there's a lot of little sayings that I think would be very helpful for you. And that is one. This no longer serves me. Yes, it's that simple. Yes, it's that basic. That's how you're going to build your neural pathways. You're going to build that by constant repetition, reframing those conversations that you have with yourself in your head. This has been proven scientifically to help rewire any of the damage that has been done over a period of time with your traumas and everything else. But you got to be willing to do that. And you got to integrate both of these practices together. Because in order to have a goal, let's say your big goal, we're going to micro goal that, which is essentially what intentions really are, is you're kind of micro goaling. So they're basically the same thing, but the intentions I think can be even a little stronger, but the micro goals are good to kind of help bring those two things together, but you want to bring them together. Today, I approach challenges with patience. Great. Set that daily intention. Today, I approach challenges with patience. And then you're going to evening journal that, and you're going to write about what you did or didn't do or whatever the case may be. And that's going to help you go, wow, I thought I needed to get it all done. Damn, I didn't get it all done. Ooh, why do I feel like I need to get it all done? Why do I fear not having it all done? Because then I'm going to look like a failure. Well, so what? Well, then if I look like a failure, I just reaffirm what mom said. So all that shit just happened because of what mom said. So that's why you want to be very, very clear. Today, I approach challenges with patience. I choose to release what no longer serves me and embrace what aligns with my values. Embrace what aligns with my values. I'm always going to give you those alternatives. That's why you got to celebrate your small wins. Because again, think about how things sound. When you put these big, broad barriers of a goal up there, goals are great. But without that intention and strategy through the micro goals, it's going to be a constant thing. Man, I'm so stupid. You idiot. You had those tools. Mind you, I've heard this from my clients before and I have to check them very quickly. But I have the tools. I can't believe I screwed that up. How dumb am I? We've been talking about this for years. I know what not to do and I did it anyway. Idiot. So how's that helpful? Where's the benefit in that? Because no one's ever bullied themselves into being better. That doesn't do anything. So when you're doing that, how about setting the intention of today, because not next year, today I will be mindful of the conversations I have with myself. Today I will be mindful of the conversations I have with myself. Because if you keep beating yourself up, you're not going to get that outcome that you're seeking. It's impossible. So you could say something outside of that affirmation that I did. You could say, with that specific example, you could say, I may have the tools, but I'm still working on implementing them. Okay, hear that. I may have the tools, or I may have some tools, or I'm working towards learning the tools, and I'm also working on implementing them. Doesn't that sound a little nicer than you're an idiot and you have this, but you're a dumbass and you can't? How's that working? You're allowed to talk nicely to yourself, but you know what? It's not just adopting it from anybody else. It's also adopting it from how you've been talking to yourself over a long period of time. So we got to break that habit. But your intentions is what's going to really help you. It's going to keep you rooted in today. It's going to keep you in present. And we're going to jump over to that worksheet right now. But you guys, watch your inner dialogue. If you make no other intention, this moment in time, the second you hit stop on this podcast, how about saying to yourself, I don't care who you are, where you are, I don't care. This is going to be effective for everybody. Every single body every single person, I guess is every single body listening to this right now. Today, I will be mindful of the conversations I have with myself. Boom, end of story. And then live that way. So love you guys. Can't wait to talk to you guys next week. I appreciate each and every one of you. Talk to you soon.